All right, how's everyone doing today? Got some energy or what? But good to see everyone. Just kind of finish up on the Western Carolina game and then moving forward to this week. Again, after watching the video and really reviewing the week of preparation, I really like the way our players approached the week of preparation, the game. Again, I spoke about it Saturday night, their business-like approach. They had great energy, and they wanted to get out there and compete for 60 minutes, and that's everything that we stressed, and our players did everything that we asked of them. In terms of winning the football game, we followed the plan to win, and there's so much that goes into playing winning football and following that plan to win. So many things. I spoke about it Saturday night. First down efficiency, 72% on first down. We were over 80% first down efficiency in the first half. Defensively, the same thing. We had them in third and long a number of times throughout the entire game. Our third down defense, we were able to get off the field defensively, and again, that's a byproduct of winning first down, winning mixed downs, and getting back to that first down efficiency. Our turnover margin, again, we didn't turn the football over. Anytime you don't turn the football over, that presents an opportunity to win the football game. And we took the ball away on defense. I thought we were opportunistic, and we took advantage of our field position. We had big splash plays, particularly in the return game, and we played disciplined football. We only had 3 penalties, which has kind of become a staple to what we believe in terms of being disciplined. Again, some things, though, third down on offense, our overall tackling, leveraging the football, those are things that we'll constantly strive to compete upon and improve upon and continue to compete at a high level. In terms of this week, great challenge going on the road, hostile environment, and everything is about our preparation. And before you want to talk about this is the most important game, it's not the most important game. It is the most important game in terms of it's the next game, and that's the way it is. We live in a week-to-week season. It's a 12-game season, and we're working to get to 13 and so on and so forth. So I think that's all a thing that just blow up. It's important because it's the next game. Does this game mean a lot to a lot of individuals? Absolutely. But again, everything is about our preparation. Everything is about our approach. 29 individuals, we just did the travel roster. 29 individuals will board a plane for their first SEC road trip of their careers. And when we go to Gainesville, only 12 are on the travel roster that went to the game a couple years ago. So again, a lot of new learning experiences for this football team, going on the road, playing in the swamp and all those things that are associated with it, that we have to make sure not only are we physically prepared to play, but mentally prepared to play. What can I say about their defense? I don't know if there's 1 or 2 adjectives that describe it. The word that comes to my mind is impressive. Last week they held a team to 8 completions. There are 1 or 2 in every statistical category, and deservingly so. They're very deep. I believe they played 10 at the defensive line. They have the ability to play man coverage and play press man coverage. And they're as good of a defense as we have seen since we've been here. Active, explosive, get after it. And I think that the results speak for themselves offensively. Very good skill. I thought Greer did some good things of managing their offense. We'll obviously be ready for Harris as well. But they present some matchup concerns for you on defense as well. But it's going to be a great challenge moving forward. But I know our players are looking forward to the week of preparation and what what's to come about come Saturday. But it'll be a great challenge. So, questions?
Start with Danny in the back. Coach, going back and looking at the film on Saturday, played so many young guys in the second half. After looking at that film, is there anybody that stuck out among the rest that may earn more playing time going forward?
What I think occurred is, the individuals that had limited game repetitions, they realized that there's a difference between practice and games. And, we had some individuals who had a great week of practice and preparation. They got into the game and they kind of lost respect to their fundamentals and their details. I think they tried to play perfect and not make mistakes. And football is a game played by humans. You're going to make mistakes, but what we ask is go out and execute your fundamentals and play fast. And so it was a great evaluation too. Others did well. Others we need to keep continuing to have our youth development sections of practice that we have and post-practice development as well. But anytime you can get individuals those game repetitions, I think it helps your football team. It helps your morale, but also it's a great gauge for where these individuals are. It's like we told them, you're putting your football identity on video. Now we get to come in today to the first day of preparation for the week and correct those mistakes, and they're able to see themselves on video.
Is Danny O'Brien's suspension ongoing, or will he be back this week?
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. Danny O'Brien has been reinstated to our football program, and he will resume practice today.
Steve, Jimmy, Patrick over here. Judging from your opening comments, I assume you're downplaying the aspects of this game, just the streak, the history of the rivalry and stuff. If that is the case, why don't you make a bigger deal about it when
What do you
as
mean
far
by
as motivation?
downplaying?
Well, you were saying it's the best. It's an important game because it's the next game.
Correct.
How much have you talked about the streak, or do you bring it up,
No,
and
it's
why not?
Well, first of all, 12 individuals were on the travel roster that went to Florida. That's for you guys to talk about all week long. What matters is about our preparation, is about becoming a better football team, and the challenge that lies ahead of us in terms of going and playing a really, really talented football team that's 3-0. And, you know, all we can control is our work ethic, our mindset, our improvement, and our preparation, and then go execute on Saturday. And that's all you can do. Every game is critical. Every game is critical that you play. So we don't put more emphasis on one the other because you still have a number of games left.
Butch, as far as Florida's offense, how different is it this year compared to last year?
Well, obviously, it's a new coaching staff with Coach Nussmeier, and there's some nuances there, so it's obviously different. But some things are similar, too, in terms of maybe some run schemes, some throw schemes, some personnel changes. But, you know, it's different just in terms of, you know, coaching change and the different nuances and personalities of those coaches that they've brought in. And they've done a good job. And Jim has done a really, really good job. I've known him for a while. And, you know, you can see his intensity. You can see kind of his personality starting to be forged on this football team.
As far as Preston Williams, he was named the SEC Freshman of the Week. Talk a little bit about what you saw Saturday night, and had you seen that in practice, the signs that he was capable of performing that way?
Yes, we have, Jimmy. And the thing with Preston is he didn't have any training camp, so he's had very limited practice opportunities. And so every time he steps out on the practice field, it's an opportunity to improve his skill set. And then coming off the injury that he had his senior year in high school. So when you couple that with really not having a senior year, only playing a few games, and then not having training camp, every practice opportunity is critical for him. And our older players have done a very good job of mentoring him in the meeting room and then obviously on the field of play during practice. You see the God-given ability, you see the skill set, but it's just an overall volume of the offense and just the techniques, the football endurance that it takes to compete at a high level. And Preston's a very competitive young man. He wants to do well, and I could see him gaining more and more confidence as his practice opportunities increased. And, you know, he made some good adjustments on the football, and he'll continue to improve. And it's a step-by-step process. We always talk about focusing on the process, focus on the journey, you know, focus on the climb. Don't look up, don't look at the mountain, and just focus on it step by step, and he's been able to do that.
Patrick, Paul, Brent.
Butch, how did Darren Kirkland do in terms of getting the defense lined up and adjusted in kind of his first start? What did you see from him in that area when you went back and watched it?
Yeah, Patrick, we were pleased. You know, again, another true freshman that didn't have spring football. He had some mental errors that we got to get cleaned up with the pace of the game and being able to recognize formations and backfield alignments. But for the most part, making his first start, we were very pleased. He overran some things. I think some of that is his speed and learning to temper his speed down and put your eyes on the thighs and different techniques that go into tackling and leveraging the football. But we were very encouraged by his play.
But you talked about Florida being really good at man press. What are things besides guys just winning one-on-one matchups, or how do you put them in good situations schematically to help them win those one-on-one matchups?
That's the thing that challenges you when you have the luxury that they do to have play man coverage and play press man coverage. There's only so many things you can do. Obviously, you try to gain some formational advantages, some different things that way, and so they have to make a decision. Are they going to commit to that? Are they going to commit to the run? And we'll do some different things, maybe with some different personnel groupings and some formations, and try to give our receivers some relief a little bit. But at the end of the day, when you play a man coverage football team, it comes down to me against you and being able to adapt and adjust to the ball in the air and, having some different flood routes and things like that everyone does. Every offense tries to create during the course of a game. But we have a large volume of that in our package.
Butch, as a follow-up to that, you said Kentucky only had the 8 completions. Where's the balancing act with your quarterback on, hold the ball or tucking it and running as opposed to throwing a ball up as a 50-50 ball and giving a guy a chance to play? Where do you want that balance of?
It's based on the play call. It's based on the scheme. Some is a 50-50 ball, and we have great confidence in our receivers to go up and get the 50-50 ball. You saw a little bit more of that last week. And then some of it is a schematical thing. Some of it is them understanding the timing, of the pass concept, and everything is a timing mechanism in the quarterback's mind. And that all comes with repetition. And for the most part, Josh has done a very good job with that, and so did Quentin Saturday night.
Following up on Danny O'Brien, does he immediately then travel to Florida? Does he have to earn his starting spot back? How do those components work?
Yeah, good question. Just like anything, he has to earn everything. He has to earn the travel roster spot by his performance in practice and by doing everything right. And, so we've already spoken to him. We've laid out the guidelines. And it starts, obviously, today in practice and doing everything right. And he has to earn his way back on for playing time and on the travel roster. Absolutely.
And is this, you said you've established guidelines, so is this kind of a last chance for Danny?
I don't want to consider it a last chance. We're in this profession to help young adults become adults. And, when any situation you look at it, is it a poor choice or is it poor character? And, Danny's done everything that we've asked of him since we've been here. It means something to him. And all I can say is he's back, he's reinstated, and he understands the parameters and guidelines. It's an honor and a privilege to represent this great football program and this great state and this university, and he understands that.
And then last thing, and I'll give the mic up. You said that this is just another game, and it's an important game because it's the next game, but there's obviously a lot of talk about the streak. Do you do anything differently from a social media standpoint with your team? Do you ask them to stay off Twitter? Do you ask your players, leadership staff to do anything more this week?
No, everything in sport is all about a routine and keeping the routine the same. That's why even when we go on the road and we go to road games, it's imperative that you try to keep as much routine oriented as possible, whether it's a home game or an away game, especially when you have 29 individuals making their first SEC road trip, really playing in their first hostile environment. The Nashville game against Bowling Green really wasn't a road trip. That was a home game for us. So everything is routine oriented. You don't change things up. You have a consistency and approach each and every day, and that's how you approach it. And we'll prepare for Florida just like we prepared for our other 3 opponents.
Butch, what do you remember from your first trip to the Swamp, and then what are the biggest challenges taking a team down to Gainesville and being competitive?
First of all, it's a difficult place to play, just like every venue that you go on the road in the SEC. We have to do a great job with communication from a crowd noise standpoint. So everything is based on communication, cadence, different things, communication in terms of even on the headsets with the play calling and coach-to-coach communication on the sidelines after series, making sure we're We have great hydration with the humidity and all that goes into it to preparing a team to have great road focus. So there's a lot that goes into that. In terms of what I remember is, we had numerous opportunities and we didn't cash in. I believe we took a team in there that really, I don't know if they truly believed they could win. And then after the game, we sat in the locker room and we said, you know what? We had every opportunity to win the football game. And that's part of belief. That's part of investing in victory. There's a lot that goes into it. We were opportunistic in terms of a interception, but also we weren't able to capitalize on field position in that game.
Coach, what can it do for a team just in terms of the overall conference schedule to win the first conference game of the season?
Anytime you can get where you're 1-0, and it's a divisional game, it's very, very important. So, getting off to a good start is imperative. It's important, but also it's a long football season. And, just like I asked our players to keep a journal, just like I keep a journal week to week, it's amazing how many stories occur each week that everything's on fire and this is a panic and this is a panic. And maybe that's what we're trying to create. But then when you step back and you say, look at all the amount of energy we put into worrying about that, and really there was nothing there. That's why we just stay focused on the task at hand. It's a long season, and again, the teams and the programs that can manage the natural adversities that a football season brings about are the ones that like their body of work when it's all said and done. And we live in a week-to-week society. We live in a week-to-week season. We understand that. That's why we can only control the now. We can't worry about yesterday. We can't worry about tomorrow. We have to just concentrate on the now and win today.
You said 2 years ago you felt like the team didn't really think that they could win and have the confidence to win. Do you feel like they truly have that confidence going down there this season?
I do. I believe our players expect to win every time they step out on the football field. And again, you look at where we're at. We're at 2-1 right now. We took a top 5 overall football program into double overtime. We took care of business against a very, very good Bowling Green football team, and we did what we needed to do to get the victory last week. So we've had a workmanlike approach. They have not blinked, and we continue to get better. Now this week, obviously, the quality of opponent increases more so than we've seen any time this year to date, and that's why this week of preparation is going to be very, very important, not just physically, but mentally as well.
Do you have any update on the status of Jason Kroom, I guess, his timetable from coming back? And do you know about Max Arnold, Ralph David Abernathy, those guys this week?
We expect Max Arnold to be back at practice. Dustin will know a little bit more on his status as the week progresses. Ralph David Abernathy is still a couple weeks away right now. Jason Kroom continues to progress, but he's not ready. It's still probably going to be a couple weeks with his status. I'll know a little bit more probably on Ralph David and Jason probably midweek, but they won't be available for Florida. There's a possibility that Max Arnold could be available for Florida.
Wes and Jimmy Himes, Danny, Darryl, Heather, last one.
Can you guys remember all that?
But obviously, there's only one football to go around. Obviously, there's only one football to go around with a bunch of different guys who can make plays. But Pig Howard having just, I think, 3 touches the past 2 weeks, is that a concern, or is there something physically wrong with him, or has that just been the way the game went?
I think it's the flavor of the game a little bit. Alton also tweaked his ankle a little bit, so in terms of playing time, he missed some valuable repetitions there because of that. He should be fine. And then it's just, taking advantage when your number's called. So I think there's a lot of things that go into it, but, we have to get him going because he is a big part of our offense. He's very explosive, and we consider him one of our playmakers on offense. So there's been a lot of circumstances behind the why of not much production, but we're working on changing that.
Butch, I understand the theory of playing a lot of receivers, but when you do that, does that create a challenge to build a chemistry between the quarterback and the receivers?
No, not really, because of the inordinate amount of time they spend together. like I told you, I think when you asked that question 2 weeks ago, 21 personnel, the huddle, you were his hubs, one or two. Blame it on him. They spend so much time together in the summer, in training camp, all that goes into it that, it's all about the trust, and I know where you're going with it, trust and understanding body language and when they're coming out of the breaks, but we make sure that we chart everything, that they're getting hitch throws to the right, they're getting hitch throws to the left, they're getting them with these receivers. So I don't think that's been, but, with playing multiple position groupings now with 3 receivers, 4 receivers, we even have some 5 wide receiver packages where reps are critical, and then our style of play. And, only to play at a high level, your reps, are, if they're between 35 and 45, that's pretty productive. When you get into where you're having 80, 90 reps, that challenges throughout the course of a long season. We have had players do that and do it successfully. Antonio Brown was one of those players who could handle the high volume of reps. It's really based on the individual in taking care of their legs and their body, but I don't see that being a chemistry problem at all because we work a lot on that.
Coach, you talked about your guys having to deal with adversity, overcoming obstacles, and learning how to win. Florida's already had a couple one-score games that they have won. Have you already seen them learn that under Jim McElwain?
You can see the confidence from week 1 to week 2 to week 3 now. You can really see the confidence in their style of play, the confidence, I think, in how they're going to win football games, how they manage a game. It's just like us. You play to the personality of your football team. You play to the strengths of your football team. So everything is managing a football game from when do you go for it, when do you kick, when do you punt, trick plays, different things that go into managing a game, and it's a lot based on the formula for winning in your program, but the formula for winning that particular game as well. And you can see them having more and more confidence in their style of play.
Coach, you said Saturday you told us you had asked the guys to give you a word after the game. Have you got the feedback from what they told you? Was there anything you found interesting from that feedback or one common theme?
Yeah, I will have that today in our team meeting. So we'll meet at 2:30, and like we always do on Mondays, we review the game, we show video, and that's at that point in time where we'll go back, and there was 2 things we asked them. The word that would adjective or one word that would describe their style of play for that game, and then one word that would describe their group identity, the power of the position, their unit, their individual group. So I'll have more of that today when we meet.
Butch, I know you want your team to not be emotional, but how do you balance that with making sure they have a lot of passion and making sure that it actually means something?
Right. Well, that's a good question, and there is a big difference between playing with passion and playing with emotion. And emotion wears out. Emotion runs out. Emotion doesn't last. Passion lasts. And if you love what you're doing, you love what you're representing, you love competing, you'll have great passion. Great passion never leaves you. And when you have passion, you're focused, you're determined, you're focused on the task at hand. When you're emotional, sometimes you can make erratic decisions. You're not locked in. And that's what I like about this football team is they've been very business-alike. They've been very passionate. We've had very spirited practices. There's been very few times where we've walked off the practice field and we said we haven't been into practice today. And it's our job as coaches, too, to create that environment in practice, that where they want to come to practice, they want to learn, they want to get better. This is going to be another challenge in and of itself in preparing this football team this week because it's exam week. And we've spoken to a lot of experts, and they talked about we have to guard against mental fatigue with football, preparing for the game, and having their exams. And as the head coach, these are all these things when we talk about preparing your team and bringing 29 individuals on the road for the first time and all that. These are all the things. So now, Steve, you can kind of see a full circle coming back. Now you got exams. They understand what's at stake. They understand the importance of the game. Now you go to put all this undue pressure on them. You can become fatigued mentally. And we have to be mentally fresh. We have to be mentally alert going into a hostile environment, playing a top quality upper echelon opponent in our conference. And again, these are 17 to 22, 23-year-old individuals, but they've done everything that we've asked of them and more so. And I expect the same this week, just like for the following weeks to come.